The next general hazard topic we'd like to discuss may not be as easily recognized as a charging mother cow or a rotating auger, but it can change your life just the same. It's noise exposure, especially prolonged noise exposure. Our sense of hearing, which allows us to receive and interpret sounds, is an amazing and complex system. Any source of sound sends vibrations or sound waves through the air. The ear directs sound waves down an auditory canal to the eardrum, causing it to vibrate. In the middle ear are the three smallest bones in the human body: the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. They are so small all three could fit on your fingernail. They work as a lever system to amplify the vibrations of the eardrum. The amplified vibrations then enter the cochlea, which is a fluid-filled spiral tube. Each cochlea has approximately 20,000 microscopic hair cells which respond to these amplified vibrations and send electrical signals or impulses to our auditory nerve. From the auditory nerve, electrical impulses go directly to our brain and are interpreted as recognizable sounds. The hair cells lining the cochlea are damaged by sudden blasts of extremely loud noise or by continued unprotected exposure to moderately loud noise. Damaged hair cells lead to noise-induced hearing loss, which is permanent and irreversible. Loudness or intensity of sound is measured in decibels. There is consensus in the scientific community that sound levels less than 75 decibels are unlikely to cause permanent hearing loss. Here are the examples of a few common sounds with average decibel levels below or near 75. Rustling grass or leaves, 20 to 30 dB. A normal conversation, 50 to 60 dB. An idling tractor, 70 to 80 dB. Sound levels above 85 dB with exposures of 8 hours a day or more will produce permanent noise-induced hearing loss over time. Here are examples of some farm sounds with average decibel levels near or above 85. An operating combine, 75 to 90 dB. An operating baler, 75 to 90 dB. An operating air compressor, 77 to 95 dB. An operating swather, 80 to 95 dB. An operating ATV or quad, 84 to 100 dB. An operating grain auger, 89 to 102 dB. An operating shop vac, 92 to 94 dB. An operating chainsaw, 94 to 116 dB. An operating lawnmower, 95 to 100 dB. An operating grinder, 96 to 100 dB. A tractor underload, 100 dB. An operating snowmobile, 120 dB. Swine operation at feeding time, 120 to 133 dB. High power rifle being fired, 141 dB. Even your music can easily reach levels above 85 dB. An iPod or MP3 at half volume, 85 to 101 dB. An iPod or MP3 at full volume, 108 to 125 dB. The louder the sound, the less time it takes to begin damaging your hearing. Exposure to sounds of 85 dB or more can cause hearing threshold shifts. If sound seems muffled, you hear a ringing or buzzing, or you have trouble understanding speech after an exposure to loud sounds, you are experiencing a temporary threshold shift. This is a warning that your ears have been overexposed to sound. If your ears are repeatedly exposed to sounds above 85 dB, the hair cells lining the cochlea will be damaged, and the threshold shift will worsen, and hearing loss will become permanent. For every increase of 3 dB over 85 dB, the allowable daily safe listening period is cut in half. For example, 2 hours at 91 dB, 1 hour at 94 dB, a half hour at 97 dB, and 15 minutes at 100 dB, etc. Although noise-induced hearing loss is permanent, it is also preventable. Following a few safety listening habits can protect your hearing from long-term harm. A good rule of thumb to follow is when you feel you need to shout in order to be heard from 1 meter away, noise levels are probably above 85 dB and your hearing is at risk. Pay attention to your environment. Once you've recognized hazards, you have to take action to prevent damage. How can you reduce noise exposure? Here are some suggestions. First, move away from the noise source. How quickly hearing loss takes place depends on the intensity of the noise. You can easily reduce the intensity by moving away from the source. Second, turning down the volume. Personal music devices like iPods and MP3s deliver sound directly into your auditory canal. Even at half volume, the sound level is above 85 dB and is a risk to your long-term hearing health. Third, limit or avoid loud noises if you can. How quickly hearing loss takes place depends on the intensity of the noise and how long and how often you're exposed to it. Noise-induced hearing loss can occur at any age, so limit your exposure to loud sounds. Fourth, wear hearing protection when in noisy environments. Hearing protection that works best is comfortable, convenient, and close at hand. All hearing protection will be labeled with a noise reduction rating. This rating shows the maximum decrease in dB levels you can expect when properly wearing that specific type of protection. When choosing hearing protection, keep in mind other equipment and clothing you might be wearing, as well as the climate you're working in. Some common choices for hearing protection include foam earplugs, commonly made of expandable, slow recovery foam. They can provide a high level of protection if fit is snug. Can be reused up to 10 times if kept dry and clean. Keeping earplugs clean is easy, as they can be washed with warm water using mild liquid detergent and then squeezed to remove water. Foam earplugs are ideal if you need lots of sound reduction and your hat or face shield might interfere with conventional earmuffs. To properly insert an earplug, use both hands to roll and compress the foam plug as tightly as possible into a thin, creaseless tube. Make sure your hands are clean. Fitting is easier if you reach around the head to pull the ear outward and upward during insertion. Hold the plug in place. It will gently expand within a few seconds to provide a snug and secure fit. The deeper the plug is inserted into the ear canal, the more effective and comfortable it will be. This is an incorrect fit. This is a correct fit. If fitted correctly, expandable foam earplugs reduce noise by approximately 30 dB. Foam earplugs should be replaced if they harden or do not re-expand to their original size and shape. It's fairly easy to know when they need replacing. Pre-molded earplugs are made of flexible materials which are pre-formed to fit the ear. They also can provide a high level of protection if fit is snug. Most pre-molded earplugs are sold in a variety of sizes, so they can be effective for many people. Pre-molded plugs are usually available with a joining cord to prevent loss. They normally last several months or more depending on the type, the work environment, and the body chemistry and hygiene. Keeping pre-molded plugs clean is easy, as they can be washed with warm water using mild liquid detergent and then squeezed to remove water. Pre-molded plugs are ideal if you have a need to remove or adjust protection occasionally, still need a fair amount of sound reduction, and your hat or face shield might interfere with conventional earmuffs. To properly insert a pre-molded plug, reach around the back of your head and pull outward and upward on your ear while inserting the plug. Push the plug tightly into your ear canal until you feel a snug seal. It may seem very tight at first, especially if you've never worn earplugs, but the fit must be snug to be effective. If fitted correctly, pre-molded earplugs reduce noise by approximately 25 dB. Pre-molded earplugs should be replaced if they shrink, harden, tear, or crack, or become permanently deformed. Semi-insert earplugs. Also called canal caps or semi-orals, they consist of pods or flexible tips on a lightweight band. They provide less protection than either plugs or muffs, but aren't recommended for long-term wearing. As they are not recommended for long-term use, a set may last several months or more depending on the work environment and body chemistry and hygiene of the wearer. Keeping semi-insert plugs clean is easy, as they can be washed with warm water using mild liquid detergent. Flexible tips can then be squeezed to remove excess water. Semi-inserts are quick to put on and take off and are easy to store around the neck. They're ideal for intermittent use, when hearing protection must be removed and replaced repeatedly. To properly insert this type of hearing protection, pull on the outer ear while holding the large ends of the pod. Swivel the pod, directing the tip into each ear canal. Firmly push and wiggle each pod into the ear canal to create a snug seal. The band is worn under your chin. If fitted correctly, semi-insert earplugs reduce noise by approximately 20 dB. Like foam and pre-molded earplugs, the semi-insert can be kept clean by washing. The tips can also be replaced if they become hard. If the headband becomes stretched, they should be replaced. Earmuffs. Earmuffs are rigid, molded plastic cups or domes with soft plastic cushions which seal around the ears to block noise. The size of the dome allows control of sound reduction. The plastic cushions are either filled with foam or liquid. Foam-filled cushions are usually preferred because they're lighter, more durable, and give equal protection. Earmuffs come in adult and children's sizes and may have headbands that adjust so that an individualized fit is possible. Earmuffs can be used indefinitely, but depending on the work environment and the body chemistry and hygiene of the wearer, the cushions may need replacing as often as every 5 or 6 months. Earmuff cushions can be cleaned with warm, soapy water. It is not necessary to use alcohol or solvents. Earmuffs are an ideal choice if hearing protection will be removed and replaced often while wearing gloves or when hands or the environment are dirty. Muffs must be centered so they fully enclose the ears and seal against the head. Noise reduction will be reduced by anything that interferes with the seal around the ear, including glasses, hair, hats. If worn correctly, earmuffs reduce noise by approximately 25 dB. Earmuff cushions should be replaced whenever they become stiff, cracked, or do not seal. Earmuffs should also be replaced if the headband becomes stretched. If you're going to be exposed to very loud noises, it's a good idea to wear earplugs and earmuffs together. Remember, noise-induced hearing loss can occur at any age, but we know it can be prevented by paying attention to your environment and by moving away from any noise source above 85 dB. Turning down the volume. Hearing loss can be a negative cycle. If we have hearing loss, we tend to listen to things at a louder volume to compensate. This in turn damages more cochlea nerve hairs, causing more hearing loss, which makes us turn up the volume. Don't get into this cycle. Always wear hearing protection when in noisy environments. Hearing protection that works best is comfortable, convenient, and close at hand. Awareness and preparation can prevent noise-induced hearing loss, which is a direct consequence of prolonged noise exposure.